Hello everyone on the internet, thanks for tuning in.
And welcome to another episode with me, Master Rider Bushido, and with my Toku Bros from the other side of it, Flayvaman!
Judgment time!
I'm not gonna bother slating, because I don't even fucking know where the hell that fucking came from, honestly, I have no idea. And
Decoranger!
Huh?
Decoranger! Not seen Decoranger.
Yeah, I have, but...
Judgment time!
Anyway, so after a couple of weeks worth of, Toku talking, we are back for another
Toku
talk indeed, yeah, and to start off with, what has my Toku Bros seen or heard of so far? Go for it, Flayvaman!
Right, so as I sort of indicated in the beginning, the one, I think it's only been out on TV Nihon for a short amount of time, but maybe a week or so. But I'm going to start off by talking about Decoranger 10 years after. Was it called? Was it 10 years later? The 10-year anniversary
after, 10 years
special.
after.
10 years after of Decoranger. Tokusou Sentai Decoranger. Yeah. Have you... Right. Okay, I'm going to start off by asking you, Bushido, what can you remember... Well, bear in mind you couldn't even remember Judgment Time. What do you remember of Decoranger?
Other than it's probably the first official police-themed Sentai. Well done, for that matter, if I may mention. They also had one of the best super forms of all time, I can think.
You mean swap modes?
Swap modes. They were so original, so good, so it worked really well.
It was aesthetically pleasing, yes.
By all means. My only qualm is the story, for me anyway. I felt that because at the time I was watching, it was so hard to grasp what was happening. And so it wasn't... I only understood the characters really, and then when it ended, I am aware that Ban went to Fire Squad, and then you ended up with the green, blue, yellow, pink, and Break, Deca Break, the Sixth Ranger, basically forming the not 5 Ranger now officially. Now, I'm aware that they did a post Deca Ranger in a versus Magi Ranger where Bam Ban comes back from the Fire Squad, but other than that, I don't really know any post Deca Ranger stuff.
I mean, did you not see their appearance in Go Kaija?
Yes, that was good. Twice, because you had Jasmine in the beginning of that episode, and then Bam Ban at the end. And throughout that episode, you even had Doggy Kruger as well, which was brilliant. It was just a whole episode to commemorate that series. It's just so brilliant. Yeah, series is good. But yeah, rumor has it that, now correct me if I'm wrong here, I was told or heard that they're not bringing back the actress to play Jasmine.
Are you talking about the 10 years after? Well, you're totally wrong on that, because I watched it like a few days ago.
Okay.
And again, alright, so I'll let you sort of like give us what you remember of Decoranger. I mean, I won't talk that much about what I remember, because I'm going to talk more about the special I've just watched. But Decoranger, for me, it was my first complete Sentai watching beginning to end, because I watched it during Bokenja year. So while that was airing, I watched Decoranger beginning to end. So
but just for the benefit of the doubt, my first Sentai I watched from beginning to end that I actually loved, believe it or not, was Magi Ranger. So taken from.
Oh.
Yeah, so 1 year after you. So.
Well, to be fair, again, I watched Decarange during Bokenji, which Magirange had already finished. So I don't know how that because I will just say I started watching Sentai during Bokenji year. So I don't know if you watched during Magiranger year. Well, did you watch Magiranger while it was airing?
Ooh,
You know,
well, hang on a minute. What year for Rider was that? Kiba? Was that Kiba? No, that was Deno year, wasn't it? Or Hibiki?
oh, right, hold on. I'll work this out because Hibiki was Bokenji year. No, was it?
No, that sounds about right.
Oh, so why did you bring it up like that?
No,
Kabuto was Bokenji year, I think.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
We're going to get a lot of typing and,
Big types! Anyway, but I'm saying, anyway, you didn't even answer the question.
In short, Kiba was my first official download, watch through and through. Magiranger was my first watching through and through download thing.
But you can't even remember specifically?
I don't specifically remember which one I followed throughout airing. Most likely, Magiranger I downloaded, watched as I went along, kind of one, if that's what you mean.
Right. Anyway, well, I was sort of like coming back to Decarange. Yeah, I mean, just as I already said, it was my first Sentai I watched beginning to end during Bokenji year. I really like the story. I mean, if I'm honest, it's a really good Sentai. I just wouldn't recommend it as a starter Sentai, simply because of the fact that it's really different from all the other Sentai. That's the only reason I wouldn't recommend it as a starter.
It's a bit more gripping, isn't it?
It's not just alright, it's gripping. I'm not going to disagree with you on that, but I will say that it's just really different in terms of structure. Like, it doesn't you look at. Alright, you're going to hate this, but if you look at series like Decaranger, Go Busters, and maybe one or two others, like even Jetman, say, these are Sentai that aren't your typical Sentai. So
they are unique.
Again, they're very unique. They don't have to go against. They don't have to go with the grain. They go against the grain.
Here's one for you.
Ironically, even though I wouldn't recommend it as a starter Sentai, it was my starter Sentai, believe it or not. But it was and this is it. It blew. Even as my first Sentai, it totally blew me away. I loved it. If anything, I'd pick very little to no fault. I mean, I think, like, if you look at the Power Rangers SPD, you look at how they actually did Doggy Kruger, whereas you look at Doggy Kruger in Decaranger, he's just like a fluffy stuffed toy. Whereas SPD, they actually put an effort into making him look like an alien or something.
Well, not just that, but more wolf.
Well, he was like a wolf with gills, wasn't he?
No, but still, it looked, the US Doggy Kruger looked a heck of a lot more menacing, and in a good way.
I will agree with that, but again, so where I say, again, sort of coming back, I wouldn't pick too much fault with Decaranger, but I know a lot of people picked fault with Decaranger because the villains didn't really have proper structure. I mean, you had that bat in a jar guy. I can never remember his name. It was Umi something or other, Umi Ra 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 or something. The bat in a jar guy. He was basically your main villain, but he didn't have his villains. He didn't manufacture his villains. He barely sourced his villains. But even then, the other villains just sort of appeared randomly, really. But anyway, I didn't find that a problem. If anything, I kind of, compared to like Power Rangers or something, I loved how sort of gritty it was. Now, coming on to Decaranger 10 years after, it's kind of weird because I kind of felt that, I'm very sort of picky in terms, especially lately. I'm picky in terms of continuity and I'm picky in terms of loopholes.
So in other words, you're very critique.
Yeah, plot holes rather. Yeah, well, I think it's something I've been developing. I don't know, maybe it's coming with old age, but so in recent years, plot holes and continuity are something that I kind of spot And
Oh, aren't we pretty
I
much
kind of felt,
we're unofficially critiques here anyway, so...
oh yes, yes,
Oh
I left my
yes!
bowler hat
Oh
over there.
yes!
Yeah. Anyway, but coming back to the review, I will say that there were a few plot holes and a couple of bits that didn't make sense. But the one thing I loved about 10 Years After is it brought back, there was that ambience, there was that feel of what the series was. I mean, again, you'd have to watch this. I mean, again, it's up to people how they felt about Hurricane 10 Years After. But I wasn't really that keen on Hurricane as a series. And the 10 Years After felt unnecessary. Now, when it came to Deca Ranger, I will say, it's like, alright, they're clearly spinning this for the money, but it was a good series, and, it did kind of feel like, and I think I said this in the previous, when we talked about the reveal of 10 Years After. But it really did feel like, why have they only got a new Red and a new Yellow? Alright, sure, Red, he's gone to Fire Squad. Yellow, they kind of threw at me again, there's lots of spoilers here. Basically with Yellow, they brought the actress Jasmine back, as you were asking. But, like, in real, anyone that kind of follows Toku News will know that the actress got married X number of years ago. She was having trouble I'm talking real life here. That she was having trouble like trying for a kid with her husband, and then she eventually got pregnant, and I believe she has a kid now. And for some reason, they've kind of put that, they've kind of made Jasmine's character a mother as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, yes.
That's actually interesting.
Well, I'm going to spoil it for you, again, because you never watch these specials anyway, so I'll spoil it for you in a minute as to how her storyline sort of develops, and it's absolutely insane.
In a good way?
It's kind of a WTF way, but, so you've got, like, Ban, who's Fire Squad, and you've got Jasmine, who's a mother. The other the other three characters, Pink, we got Pink and Green. They are like doing exactly the same job they were doing 10 years ago, but they're 10 years older, and I'm kind of like, surely someone would have thrown them a promotion or something. But no, you've got a new Red, you've got a new Yellow, you've got Pink and Green. Now the story picks up as Deca Blue actually having like abandoned the job for the last, I think it's 2-3 years. They say, he's abandoned his job because Doggy Kruger is accused of being a criminal. And that's where Doggy Kruger's in hospital, Deca Break is basically the acting chief. So that's how they play the story out in the beginning.
That's clever. Does the injury tie in with Gokaiger though?
Right, so and so the whole special revolves around Doggy Kruger's this criminal, but he's unconscious in hospital, and you got the chief of SPD saying something like, basically it's like some massive cover up from like the HO of SPD, and like you got Hoji, who's been like holed up for X amount of years. And basically, the story starts in that they found a witness to this incident where Doggy Kruger apparently went on a rampage killing people or something, or he killed someone specifically. Anyway, he apparently killed this girl's father specifically, and she was going to testify. She was going to testify in some way, shape, or form. And basically, you've got Deca Pink being like, come on, Doggy Kruger's not going to have done nothing nasty like that. And so this is how you basically got the detective stuff coming in. And, she calls on Ban, she calls on Jasmine, and, they come back into the fold. Deca Swan comes back into the fold as well. And you've just basically got this whole, prove Doggy innocent storyline, which really makes it, which... Again, it's really hard to describe without doing too many spoilers.
But the thing is the concept sounds simple. The fact that rather than getting a villain in, you make Doggy the villain.
basically it's well again.
Sorry.
I won't spoil it
It's
too
almost
much.
like a conspiracy. Someone has pretty much framed Doggy. That is clever. That's all I can say. Is that the concept is clever.
It definitely is. I mean, again, what I said. I mean, you look at. I mean, apart from the fact that I didn't like Hurricane before, I didn't really rate the. You know, like we talked about this before. I didn't really rate the special for Hurricane, but for Deca Ranger, again, despite the flaws that there were in it, I still really, I could still take a step back from the criticisms that I'd normally give any given show, Toku or otherwise. I was able to take a step back and I was like, you know what? I really enjoyed Deca Ranger when I watched it 8 years ago. Well, as I said, during Bokenji year. Oh, actually, that's 9 years ago now. Nearly 10, actually. So, yeah, in it, getting old. But I will say that, it brought me back to how much I really liked Deca Ranger. I mean, if someone did, I didn't really rate Hurricane, and I thought the special was a bit there. I absolutely love Deca Ranger, and at least with the special, at least I don't think they trampled it. You get these specials, it's like, oh, they've totally ruined like what X show was about. But I don't, I believe they did a decent, not necessarily the best job in the world. And I was like watching, I was like, oh, they could have done this better, they could have done that better. And again, for one, it's like, why did only Red and Yellow get replacements? They could have done a whole new team or something. But, again, just that aside, I really like Deca Ranger. Okay. They did a decent enough job. And, there was, and I will come to this, and I will spoil this for anyone who has not watched it. But again, they made Jasmine a mother. And this is really, and I think this is where I personally believe they messed up here, because it kind of felt a bit creepy, actually. Obviously, I watched Deca Ranger, but I don't remember every single episode or every single child. But they basically took, one of those, during the show, there was a child that Jasmine helped, because, she had ESP, she has that mind reading, which I totally forgot, by the way, but I remember it. She touches someone and she gets their memories. But in the show, she came across a young boy who was able to teleport. And, I don't remember this, but apparently this was in one of the episodes. And this boy grew up to be an adult, joined Deca Ranger, as an officer or something, and then married her. So this boy must be about at least 10 to 15 years younger than her, and she married him and had a child with him. And this is really messed up, because I'm not entirely sure, but something about, because they had a child together and the child then inherited both their powers or something, she then got the power of teleport, because this boy was able to teleport. She then got the power of teleportation herself by breastfeeding their child. I am not making this up. Toei did. That's a weird thing. Because I thought it was going to be something like a little dirtier than that. I'm like, surely they're not going to put any reference to it.
Okay.
But they specifically say this in the show.
My chocolate milk has just been tainted now with that. Honestly, my chocolate milk that's one of the cringiest thing I've ever heard.
She got the power of teleportation by breastfeeding her child. It's insane.
Anyway, long story short, as a nostalgia rush, did you like 10 Years After?
Yes, I did. It had a good ending, the way the plot unfolded, it had a good ending.
Minus the cringe.
You see, and you kind of see how it unfolded. It was good battle scenes. I mean, again, it was not too choreograph heavy, so they're not sort of, Deca Ranger wasn't. Well, Deca Ranger wasn't that choreograph heavy anyway, but it was all about the boom, 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 lasers and guns and stuff, really. So it was, and if anything, Deca Ranger was more about the story. So, it was a good story, they did well.
Okay, here's one for
there
you.
are a few other spoilers, and it doesn't make sense why they only replaced red and yellow, but the way they end is, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's a bit predictable, but then, if anything, it wasn't too surprising, but it was still really good, and it had a good ending. I really liked it.
For someone that has watched Deca Ranger through and through, would you recommend? Would you recommend?
Only if they liked it. If they didn't like it, then it's not going to make any difference to
them. Would you say this rephrase, not just ties in, but adds a nice little ending to the original series of Deca Ranger?
I guess.
I'm not saying a cherry on the top, but just that added finale.
Yeah, it's like an additional finale, really. Again, that Batinajar guy, whatever his name was, he randomly appeared. It's like, oh, wait a minute, didn't he die? It's like, oh no, this is his clone. It's like, oh, really? So yeah, there's that as well.
Oh, very cliche.
But I will say it's still actually very, providing, like me, you're able to take a step back from the plot holes and what they could have done better. It's actually quite enjoyable.
Right. Glad to hear that you enjoyed some of it.
No, it was actually pretty good. But
good.
Yeah.
Right. On to Ninja, just to get this. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So, you and I have just watched episode 35?
No, I watched 34 last week.
Right.
And I don't know when you watched it.
35. In short, right.
This recording, 35 has only just been released on TV.
Okay. In short, not only was this episode like WTF or what the fucking going on kind of thing, but also the announcements that they have made, I was like, wait, what? So in the episode, just to not to give so much away, because we will be doing in due course a Ninja review, but
yeah, that's like 15 weeks.
Oh, who cares? Anyway, you get the special episode dedicated to this
Jiraiya.
World Ninja Jiraiya person.
Global Ninja, yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, I was like, who?
I think that was the point. I think they literally did, they wanted us to be like, who's that? Just like the most obscure character.
And this is my biggest gripe of the episode. Not the fact that it's Jiraiya, it's who is he? He was good. I felt even the finisher using Jiraiya's huge ninja samurai sword-esque thing and beating the crap out of the enemy, I thought was amazing. My problem was the cameo appearance of the Dino Charge Blue Ranger. Just literally.
What do you mean? Blink and you miss him? What's wrong with that?
What I mean by that is, all you see, he gets strangled by the enemy. Ninjas save him. Blue Ranger says, "Okay, go." Okay, that's it, done. Bye.
What did you expect? Well, I don't know. I'll be honest. I didn't know what to expect, but I kind of, when I saw the screenshots before watching the episode, it's like I kind of got the gist that he got a bit part. It's a cameo. It's it's literally the same part as an extra.
The way one says extra, I honestly thought a bit more like a substitute character for that entire episode. Okay, like pretty much the equivalence to Jiraiya's assistants, if that makes sense. Like a bit more of a role, but
no, I do agree they could have given him a role, not just an extra.
Yeah, okay, done.
But it's still, I still think it's a landmark, though.
It is a
You know,
landmark. It is a start, but I just feel that they could have done more.
Bearing in mind, this is coming from the guy. Whenever I talk about Dino Charge, you tune out. But I've been, I mean, again, I've been following Dino Charge. And you keep that phone down. I've been following Dino Charge since Ep 1, and even though I have been critical of it, it's still, like just seeing how they are on Facebook, just seeing how enthusiastic the cast are about being in Power Rangers, it's a good thing. So
I heard about that.
like seeing, I can't remember his name off the top. I know it begins with Y. Just the blue Dino Charge Ranger, just going to Japan, seeing the ninja just bouncing around Japan. I'm just like, well, at least
someone gives a shit.
Exactly. I mean, like I've mentioned a million times before. Talking to Austin St. John, David Yost, and Karen Ashley at MCM last year.
Karen Ashley.
Aisha, Yellow Ranger Series 2. They were, they had seen, they'd heard/seen Sentai on different levels, but this guy actually was like, I am a man. So, it made that difference in my opinion. And, you look at, and again, I'll talk about Dino Charge a little later, but, just that actor, not just the Blue Ranger, all the actors in Dino Charge, you can see they are putting no less than 100% into these roles.
I would say, after you saying that, I think this actor has set like you mentioned, a milestone for...
I think I said landmark, but yeah, I meant milestone, go on.
Landmark, well, yeah, milestone for the, I guess, or creating a
crossover?
Effectively, not a benchmark, but a bridge, shall we say, the start of a foundation of a bridge between Power Rangers and Super Sentai. Like, it could be possible. Like, the actors crossing over. Not the actual characters, but the actors. Like having a US actor.
Maybe. But then again, I think, there are rumours bouncing around that Kyoryu Sian may possibly appear in Dino Charge, but, just because he's the American that appeared in Kyoryuja, and he could possibly appear in Dino Charge.
I thought they already announced, Kyoryu Sian.
Oh, no, I don't mean as a ranger, I mean just as another bit part or something. But,
you mean out of parts?
Because I think the one who's playing, I think they're calling her Aqua Ranger. It's going to be a female as well, if I remember that really correctly.
Violet?
No, not Violet. Again, Aqua. I think they're calling like Kyoryu Sian Aqua Ranger or Cyan Ranger or something. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be a female. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember reading it's going to be a female. That's it. There's not really much more I can add to that. But when I say I disagree, I don't know whether you know this, but in Power Rangers Dino Thunder, the ABBA Rangers made like an appearance. Like it's quite weird. How do I explain this? Basically, right. So basically, you got ABBA Ranger, ABBA Ranger. You got ABBA Ranger. That was then made into Power Rangers Dino Thunder. But in Dino Thunder, they were watching the TV, watching ABBA Ranger, and it's like, oh, they've parodied us being Power Rangers in Japan. It's messed up, but it was quite a good episode. It was actually a funny episode. This is also the season that Tommy Oliver makes a comeback as well, just for the record. But yeah, they tributed ABBA Ranger in Dino Thunder. And like, if you watch Power Rangers RPM, absolutely amazing series, which I've only watched a half of, they do reference Go On during that as well. It's really cool. Yeah, again, they do these little hints, but I don't think Saban will ever do that, because this is during Disney era that I'm talking about, or I think Dino Thunder was Disney era. But either way, they have tried this before, but I don't think there's going to be any major breakthrough. I mean, I think seeing Blue Dino Charge in as an extra, that's kind of a wow factor in itself. But I don't think it's going to set any sort of precedent.
In regards to the new forms, I'm not going to bother talking of ninja. I'm not going to bother talking about the Chozetsu Ninja, because I can't be asked. It's merely just Kininja and Chozetsu. But after seeing the image of Superstar Ninja,
that's just him wearing some sort of Eastwood get up.
Yeah, it's like you say, Clint Eastwood meets Pancho. It's almost like his very what do you call it? Like a Dirty Harry sort of.
But that's it though. I don't know what the story's going to be behind it, but to me, it just feels like for the moment, it just feels like another gimmick.
And he gets a red version of the what's it? A Ninja Jibanto, but red instead of a gun. Where you'd expect him to get like a proper rifle or something, but no, he gets a red version of the Ninja Ichibantos, which I'm like, really? Well, really? So I'm not bagging my chips on that one yet, but anyway, in regards to JE Fusion news, to go with, okay. Ghost.
No, we'll cover Ghost later. We'll cover Ghost at the end.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm going to talk about. Well, I'm going to quickly gloss over what I've watched.
Quickly.
Right, calm down. The more you keep, what is it? Battering on about, the longer it's going to take. I'm going to quickly gloss over what I've watched of Garo Series 5, Garo Gold Storm Shou. No, you put your phone down, sir. Put it down. Right. So basically I have watched the film, followed by about 6 episodes. Oi, I'm over here. Right. I've watched the film and followed by about 6 episodes of it. The film, I'll be honest, the vibe I'm just getting off it so far, look up when I'm talking to you, the vibe I'm getting off of it so far is I'm actually pretty bored of it already, and you're acting bored like you always do when I'm not talking about something you've watched. But no, I'll say Garo does still, it will always have amazing CGI now. But the problem I'm really having, I mean, especially watching the first 5 eps, is they do a lot of wire work in their choreography, but the actor doesn't need it. I mean, the actor who plays Ryuga, he's actually, look up, boy. I'm up here. Right. I will say that, he's actually a really good martial artist. You see the stuff that he does, it's really good. If you want to watch a series that has, martial arts, he should just do one without the wire work. But, when it comes to the story, basically they've made out that you need, that the film is a prequel to the series, which I don't think's actually that true, because I watched the film. It's basically, my suit's covered in Jackie, alright, go get it repaired, and then all of a sudden there's this guy that wants to, he wants to kill off all the horrors, but he wants to kill absolutely every being on the earth in order to do that, which is messed up. And then there's some sort of robot dude in there somewhere. Again, that just shows how much I was paying attention. Mm-hmm. And then, you do have a bit of fan service. There's this guy called D Ringo, and then he has his car channel. It's well, no, she's clearly several years younger than you. There's that going on. And then, it kind of all comes to a head and they all make up and stuff. and you got like this new Makai priest, which then that's the only connection between the film and the series is that they're working for this Makai priest woman, and then Series 5, Gold Storm Shou, well, it's all called Gold Storm Shou anyway. Then the story behind, the story's not too bad. And then in the series, like in the film, you've got like some random villain dude. But in the series, you've got Kamen Rider Decade playing the main villain with his funky hot girlfriend.
Is this in Garo?
Yes!
I heard
That's
about.
what I keep telling you. Pay attention.
I heard about this.
Yes, he is the villain in Gold Storm Shou.
But nothing to do with Shock or anything.
No, it's Garo.
I know. It could. You never know.
You really aren't paying attention. Anyway.
Nah.
So, so the series, you've got him as the villain, and they just, and again, I kind of feel like they're just recycling old storylines for Garo now. You've basically got they kind of discovered a sword that was originally formed by two daggers, but then they pull the sword out, kind of like Sword in the Stone, and then the sword shatters and becomes the two daggers again. And Decade has one, and Garo has the other. And they're kind of working out, we've got to find the other one. It's like, But I do, there are a few, positive traits. It kind each episode carries on from the previous. So it kind of feels a little more continuous than your standard Monster of the Week. But the one massive criticism I have is, you've basically got Series 5 Gold Storm Shou that follows on from Series 3, which I think is called Tiramisu Mono or something. But you've got the main female character, the heroine. She in Series 5 is just literally a pet to Garo, to Ryuga. It's in Series 3, she's like this vivacious, sort of powerful, sort of bad kick-ass woman. But in Series 5, she's just his bitch. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, yes, alright, I understand, because in Series 3, she kind of proposes to Garo, can I have your children? He says no. She was just like, alright then. And that was it. That's kind of how badass she was. She wasn't like Kaori in Series 1 and 2, which again, she wasn't, Kaori wasn't a wasn't a fighter, so you kind of allowed her to be the wife, etc. But in Series 3, I can't even remember the name of the heroine's name, but she was just like this kick-ass woman, she had an attitude, and she was following her mentor. But in Series 5, she's not even Ryuga's girlfriend. I think she wants to be. She's his support, and it's just like, oh, come on, you're so tepid now. Because you look at the film, her intro, she's sat in a bar, she's giving all the badass talk. So you kind of think, yeah, alright. But then as soon as the film carries on, it's like, wait a minute, she's really watered down. And in the series, she's really watered down. I mean, the last episode I watched, I think it was episode 6 or something, she goes into an antique shop, in one of her disguises. And, you kind of see a glimmer of how badass she was before. But it's not how she was in Series 3. And that's a massive letdown, in my opinion.
Even in, which one was the season I watched with the young Ryuga?
With the young Ryuga?
I think it was Ryuga when, I told you about this, and it was
Ryuga is in Series 3 and 5. Series 3 is when he's in Vulcan City or something.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I think you did say you watched Series 3, and you've got the military in it.
Yeah, that one. Basically, I think, in short, if we're talking about heroines and whatever and blah, 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 even in Series 3, she was a badass.
But you had two, now that you've brought that up, I brought that up, there were two, there wasn't a specifically main heroine, because you had the army woman, or not army, but, one of the guardians.
I'm talking about the cowgirl. The monster hunter.
God, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if you're talking about the Makai priest, who I was talking about, the Mahoska.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the one with the
Well,
revolvers.
one with the revolvers. Yeah, that is who I think her name's Rian. Anyway, I'm not 100%.
Sounds about right.
Anyway, but Rian, if I'm assuming her name's correct, Rian in Series 5, she's not the, she's still got the gun.
Are these still the same actors and actresses?
Yeah. So right, because in Series 3, you've got Gokai Silver playing one of the assistants to Garo. Do you remember Gokai Silver?
Yes, yes.
So you don't have him, he's not in it.
Oh.
The other guy, I think he was blind or something, he's not in it. The mentor's not in it. Literally, the only two characters that have come over from Series 3 is Ryuga and Rian. Because they're in a completely different setting. Again, if you watch the film, you've got this guy called D. Ringo, and you've got this new Makai priest with like a telephone head. They're literally the two. Well, and you've got.
Does it have a crocodile mouth as well?
No, that's from Aber Ranger. Thanks. No. But again, I'll be honest, it's a little boring, and they could have done so much more, and cause Garo season 1 and 2, and even 3, even though 3 to me didn't make too much sense, it's still pretty alright. 4 was really, like with Saijima Koga's son, I thought that was abysmal. But basically, I'm finding Gold Storm Shou series a bit of a drag.
That's not good.
Well, that's the point. Because it's still got potential, and because they were originally supposed to end this on series 2, but they were like, we're ending the story. This is how we're ending the story, and then they come out with series 3 and say, there's so much more we can tell to this story. And it's like, it definitely has the potential, because Garo anime, like I mentioned in the last time we talked, was absolutely immense. It was really good. And yet, Gold Storm Shou, I'm just not feeling it.
Fair enough.
Okay, so, shall we talk about Power Rangers now?
No, not really, but go on.
Well, no, did you not want to talk? Well, I know you told me last week, we've got to talk about that actor review.
Oh, that Power Rangers. I thought you were talking about...
I'll talk about Dino Charge after this, but let's talk about the movie.
Right, so... my goodness, I need a caffeine break here for a minute. Hang on. Wake me back up.
Nice.
Anyway. What?
Nothing, carry on.
Right. So, I found this out on comicbook.com, and they have announced on the US reboot Power Rangers movie that along with the Pink Ranger, they have now officially announced the Red, the Blue, and the Black Ranger, and now we only wait for the Yellow. Now, my opinion, honestly, I can't remember any of their names for the life of me. It's the points that I can't remember their life, and I don't even know who the hell they are for the life of me. In nowhere, shape, or form have I heard any of them anywhere.
Brilliant.
So, literally...
Maybe Saban's gone down the whole non-Screen Actors Guild actors.
And giving them a cracker, and literally, I think they're going for not only
stardom.
Like, newbies, youngies, I'll emphasize that one.
Newbies, youngies, alright, fine.
Literally, because I don't... Honestly, it would have been nice to have some veteran actor as the Red Ranger, honestly. Like,
It's supposed to be teenagers with attitude.
No, my point is having some recognition or some recognizable face just to bring it together.
This is I'm gonna disagree with you on that, because Jason, Trini, Zach, Billy, Kimberly weren't famous actors, but I will say, just aesthetically I mean, again, I already spoke about my gripes as to what they may or may not be doing, like with the Pink Ranger specifically. You know, bearing in mind Amy Jo Johnson, Kimberly Hart was like this country girl, and she didn't. You know, what was her name? Naomi Scott doesn't look remotely country.
Agreed.
But yet, I will be honest. Like when they revealed the Red Ranger, I was like, pretty boy in there. But the ironic thing was when they, because I think they revealed it black then blue. It's like black was a Chinese, and again, I don't really, I mean, I will actually get a bit racial because even though, I will name drop this, Walter Jones was like, oh, it wasn't a big deal that a black guy was playing the Black Ranger and East Asian was playing the Yellow Ranger because, the original Yellow Ranger was actually Hispanic. But I did kind of feel like, oh, they've made, just like Johnny Young Bosch was the second Black Ranger. I'm like, alright, they've cast an East Asian guy, or an East Asian looking guy as Black Ranger. But then, they've cast like an Afro-American guy as the Blue Ranger. I'm kind of like feeling, But then, I don't know if you've read the latest reveal, but they're not going to be Jason, Trini, Zach, Billy, Kimberly. They've got completely original names. And as much as the gripes I had about that racially, Kimberly, country girl by someone that doesn't look country, and then, East Asian playing Black Ranger, black guy playing Blue Ranger. They're calling the Pink Ranger something like Priya Patel. Yes. I mean, again, that's if these.
Where did you get this from?
This was the last reveal. Even Jason David Frank pointed out that the Red Ranger's got the surname Oliver. So there's actually like rumours going around that he's going to be like Tommy's son or something. So, and then I kind of looked at the Red Ranger photo. I'm like, does he look like Tommy Oliver? Does he look like Jason David Frank? But, I think, what else did I read?
Okay, so just to clarify, so you got Naomi Scott as the Pink Ranger, you got Daiquiri Montgomery as the Red Ranger, Ludi Lin, a Chinese actor I believe Chinese, as the Black Ranger, RJ Cyler as the Blue Ranger.
Yeah, and he's the Afro-American guy.
Well, he's not whatever. Anyway, my point is if they swap the Black and the Blue Ranger around, I wouldn't mind that. I just feel, I'm not saying it from a racial perspective, I just think the color perspective in that of...
Meh.
Yeah, what can you do? But
well, either way, again, they're calling Pink Ranger Priya Patel.
I have not seen that.
Look it up, because again, I think
Where?
the Red Ranger's called Callum Oliver or something.
Where?
I don't know, Tokusatsu News or something. Or I don't know, I just got it on my Facebook page, man. Damn.
Yeah, and by the way, for the benefit of that, as far as I'm aware, I don't think this...
Well, actually, go on to RyuKiva's seed if you're looking this up in front of us.
Well, anyway, RJ Cyler, he's not really Afro-esque-ish yet, but anyway, yeah.
No, I don't mean Afro as in Afro hairstyle, man. African American.
Yeah, okay, fine, I'll give you that one, but anyway. So you were saying, what's his face? Yuki what?
RyuKiva Seed, that's the name of the blog. That's the guy who originally did Orange Range.
I'm sorry, this is one...
Yeah,
as a one-off, I'm going to see this, because I have never heard this, as in...
Type in one of the Power Rangers then.
What?
To Google. Callum Oliver Power Rangers, or Priya Patel Power Rangers.
Whatevs.
Damn, man.
Still.
Alright, while you're looking that up, I'm going to quickly cover Dino Charge. I'll let you finish this. Charge, 16. few
What?
a couple days ago, episode 6. This is where they equivalent of Kyoryu Grey. They're calling him the Graphite Ranger. I'll be honest, I didn't rate the story or how they introduced him, mainly because, well, I mean, I kind of thought it was fair enough, it was bad enough, rather, that he was a descendant of the prince to whom the Knight of Xandar served, but yet, he then suddenly he suddenly sort of commissions a Dino Bones search, happens to come across the Graphite Energem, which, bearing in mind, he was searching for centuries for, and then it's like, I mean, I think at least Saban's got the comedy on point. I do believe he's got the comedy on point in that, he's like trying everything to convince this gem to bond with him. That was funny in itself. But when it came to a scene that he saved the Green Ranger's sister in order to, and that bonded him with the Energem, you basically it was a really badly done, it was a badly written scene where, like, everything's going on, they're doing all the fighting, and he stood there for 5 minutes, like, shall I save his sister? Then he eventually saves his sister, and then the gem goes and glows to him. They could have, I mean, if he was going to save his sister, the Green Ranger's sister, he should have just dived straight in almost instantaneously. Instead, you see him staring for about 5-10 minutes. It's really badly done, but nonetheless, he becomes the Graphite Ranger, which, I mean, I think they kind of made him out to be like a sort of James Bondish sort of, he's had like all this sophisticated training. But even the training scenes you see at the beginning of the episode, you see him training in his living room. If he's rich, he'd have his own studio, his own fighting studio, dojo or something. But instead, he's fighting this random robot around like all his fragile ornaments and stuff. It's like, it's insane. But, Saban never did have any attention to detail. And that's all I've got to say on Dino Charge for this week.
Saying that on Saban with attention to detail, honestly, for the benefit of the viewers here, this is the first time I've just seen the character names announced, and
right,
I'm just shaking my head. I'm just shaking my head in disbelief. And like, first off, right, I'm gonna go from shit to good for a moment in that kind of order. So
I think it makes a difference. I mean, Callum Oliver, fair enough, but Priya Patel.
Yeah, everyone else is just shit. I'm sorry. Yellow Ranger was it Tayana, not Tanya, Tayana Jones. This is almost unpronounceable, and we don't even know who the actress is. Okay, the Black Ranger, Ludi Lin, a Chinese actor, is going to play a Hispanic, Oscar Fernandez.
Oh, serious? I mean, again, I've seen the name.
Fernandez is Hispanic. It's, yeah. R.J. Seiler, Brian Olsen, okay, I can probably get away with that one as a Naomi Scott as Priya Patel, really? Yeah, exactly. Red Ranger, however, Callum Oliver, that raises a lot of good questions, and I mean good.
It's about 5-10 minutes ago.
Shut up.
But yeah.
Shut up. If they bring JDF at the end...
JDF is confirmed to be in a cameo. That was like one of the first rumours.
It was only speculated. It wasn't confirmed.
But again, they've barely confirmed that the filming is going to start in January.
Yeah, it's true.
And if depending on what you're reading, it also says the names might be subject to change as well.
Piss off.
I don't know. This is it because I'm not sure what you're reading right now. But I know one of the places
I'm on your Kia seat, so shut up.
Right. I think if you go to the bottom, it should say these names might change or something.
According to some apparently the classics. No.
All right. I think I must have read it on Tokusatsu Network or something. But the other thing.
if that Callum Oliver is the son of Tommy Oliver, oh my goodness, that is amazing.
Well, it's neither here nor there.
No. Okay,
But
rephrase.
specifically,
It's the how. It's the how that they deliver.
Have you also read that they're actually calling the film? They're not calling it Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They are calling it Saban's Power Rangers. That's the official name of the film.
Like Marvel.
Yeah, rumor-wise.
Like Marvel.
They're not calling it Mighty Morphin or Super Dino Charge the sequel or Super Dino Charge versus or whatever. Saban's Power Rangers. That if they go with that, they deserve a kicking.
I mean, okay. Given if they go for just Power Rangers, I'll accept that rather than Mighty Morphin.
We all would.
Yeah. But if they put Sabans, that's honestly just like a fucking cheapskate to, or a copy as to, what do you call it, like Marvel's, whatever, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Daredevil, Marvel's whatever, Marvel's Avengers, Marvel's movie. But Marvel does it well.
Stamp on the fact that they are the ones back in charge, even though it's probably more toei anyway.
But Marvel does it right, whereas Saban is like...
To be fair, I'll be honest, even though Disney had its clunkers like Operation Overdrive and Jungle Fury, SPD and RPM, amazing. And you know, Go On was shit, but RPM, wow.
Anyway.
That's all I can say.
Right.
I am going to move on to one more thing before we talk about Ghost. I have been watching the sequel to Choseishin Grand Seiza, and I can't remember the full name, but it's called Justirisers.
Justirisers.
Actually, I have been watching the series. It's because I'll be honest. Maybe it's kind of like you don't spot that eye because it might be call yourself dyslexic or whatever. But you watch the series, Justirisers is actually the name. You just don't spot that eye after the just. And it's really weird because I really didn't like Grand Seiza after they introduced the 12 Rangers. Justirisers, I mean, to sort of summarise what I think of the plot, it's like, I kind of gave it a bit of shit simply because I didn't like Grand Seizers. But frankly, even putting Grand Seizers to one side, Justirisers is very thin and minimal on plot, and I'm already about 6-7 episodes in to a second series of something. And it's very thin on the ground. But I will, and there's a massive but. I will actually say, and I think it's done, and bearing in mind this is done by Justirisers is done by TV Tokyo, which I think are actually the same. I mean, I'm going to have to double check this for the next topic talk, but I think that is actually the same people that did Ryukendo and then went on to do Garo as well. So actually, even though the plot is very thin on the ground, the comedy in this actually gets better and better. It starts off with a few running gags, like you've got Riser Glenn, Justy Glenn or Glenn Riser, I can't even remember his name now. Riser Glenn, that's it. You've got Riser Glenn, who's the red guy, the Red Ranger, if you will. Him and his dad own a TV shop, and there's like an assistant in there, and every time Riser Glenn tries to go into the shop, he's confronted by this assistant with like these big boxes, and they try to like dodge each other. So you've got like a few running gags in it, and it is very reminiscent of I'm not sure. I think this was before Ryukendo as well. So even though it's quite thin on the ground in terms of plot, and the villains aren't exactly all that, I'll come to the villain in a sec. But at least there's a lot of comedy going on, and I do actually end up laughing out loud. Whether it's because it's so bad, or whether they are actually trying to be funny. when it comes to the choreography, I really love the choreography in Grand Caesars, but Justirisers, they have, you know, like in this series, you kind of see them experimenting with wire work. And again, if you like wire work, that's fine. But again, I'm becoming a bit more critical, especially in this day and age, especially Garo. Like I've used it.
I'm gonna step in for a minute.
It's built with wire work.
What?
Go on.
No, I was gonna say that with good, and I mean good choreography, you don't need wire work. I mean,
Absolutely, I agree with that.
I mean, Drive barely used wire work. Go Kaija barely used wire work. I'm
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on both of those. They're both quite heavy in wire work, but
no. They're heavy on CG. They're heavy on CG, not really on wire work though.
That's a very grey area, I guess. But I see where you're coming from in the fact
but
that
my
they
point.
use
Okay, when I mean wire work, I'm talking about Ghost, which we'll tap on next. But that's what I mean. That obvious floaty bullshit thing, which I can't stand. However, when done, even if it's CG done right, you don't need the fucking wire works. So that's my interpretation.
But the one thing, I mean, again, because Grand Caesars actually had really good choreography. It was one of its redeeming features. Whereas they're not so hot on the choreography in Justirisers, and then they're experimenting with wire work. I mean, because this series is, because again, Grand Caesars had 12 people of radically different backgrounds, right? Justirisers, it starts off with 3. 2 of them are high school students, and then the other one's a university student. And, it's kind of like...
you're just going on pretty much making it sound like cross between Battle Royale and the Ryuki.
Oh, don't even go there. But I'll say, like, you've got Rise of Glenn, the red guy. He's, like, for some odd reason, he's a kendo... he practices kendo. But you've got... Rise of Gant, he plays the Black Ranger. He's just like some badass uni student.
Can I just double check something?
What?
What's that? Hang on, this is Japanese, right? Justirisers.
Yes.
Right. Because now that I've got it, what was that? Is it Korean or Philippine original similar metal superhero thing that the singer Gact got involved with?
That's that's an Indonesian toku, and it's called something like Bima Satura or something. It starts with Bima.
Bima. That's it. I think.
Well, I do want to watch that at some point, but what about it?
No, I was just wondering if this was to do with that or not.
Well, I don't think so, because it's completely different countries, let alone TV.
Just checking.
Justirisers is done by TV Tokyo, and again, I'm getting a very strong Ryukendo vibe on it. But I will say, even though I really like the suits in Grand Caesars, I really don't like the suits in Justirisers, because they kind of look like they actually look like really good cosplays. But you're not supposed to look like a cosplay in a series, because
the irony in that is uncanny.
It's really bad, because it looks like they've just got like rubber palette panels. They look like they've just got rubber panels stuck on everywhere. The helmets look really flimsy.
So is this?
I mean, like red and blue Rangers looks like they look like they're flapping.
So is this pretty much like so this is pretty much like Aberrate Pink?
Worse. Well, not even. I mean, at least Aberrate Pink was spandex, which is what Rangers are.
It wasn't. That's the point.
Was Aberrate Pink? No, you're talking about Aberrate Pink, Aberrate Pig, isn't you? It's again. I've got to try and remember what she looked like.
Pajamas and a helmet.
Well, trust me, they'd have probably done better if it was pajamas and a helmet. Because, like, again, Rise of Gant, the Black Ranger, looks like he's just got a box on his head. again, they could have done. I mean, again, Grand Caesar's one of two of Grand Caesar's redeeming features, choreography and the suits. They've kind of thrown those out the window for Justirisers. The only redeeming feature I'm seeing so far is the humour, the comedy. Again, story's a bit thin, choreography, they're experimenting with wire work. The mecha, I mean, at the moment, I'm only up to episode 6, which has Rise of Ross, which just looks like Dragonzord from Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin. And, I think I'm up to the episode where they're about to introduce, like, there's this woman from some random area of Japan that makes her way to Tokyo. And I think she's got, like, some glowing jewel. I think she's going to give each of the Rangers their own mecha. And again, the villain is dumb as shit. It's like, what is it? She's like, I never thought the Justirisers would be able to manage this. It's like, well, you're dumb as fuck.
So, like a dumber form of Rita Repulsa.
If you're gonna underestimate your enemies, you deserve everything you get. But the one cool thing I'll say is that you do see, like the episode I've just finished watching, the three heroes defeat I can't even remember her name, the main villain woman, and she shatters into like a million pieces. And then once the heroes have left, those pieces kind of like start coming back together, and she reforms like more powerful. So she's now gold because she was like red, purple before. Now she's gold.
So almost like a T-1000 star.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Let me just think if there's anything else about Justirisers. No, I mean, again, I'm still watching it. And again, I'll talk about Garo Series 5 and Justirisers more next time.
Ghost!
Yay! Now you've watched episode 2.
And
how
3.
How much would you compare episode 2 to Drive?
I don't wanna.
For me personally, I just thought Ghost episode 2 just had a very dry, like a Kamen Rider Drive comedy feel, like the humour, the abstract humour that Kamen Rider Drive had. I just felt it from that sciencey guy.
I didn't. Honestly, the problem was the science guy. I know where you're coming from. The problem was I think he was way over the top.
I think that's the point.
No. My point is his Idiocracy spoiled the humor, if that makes sense, from my aspect anyway. And I just a very good what was it, on Toku official page or official Toku page on Facebook, there's one image with a comment saying, how do you think about this series so far? And it takes a shot of the sage guy saying, I don't know. And I completely agree. Because honestly,
well, I think people have been feeling mixed in the forums, but
honestly I don't blame them, because for the matter of the fact that in episode 4 we're gonna get the fucking 5th form, and that being Newton.
No, we're not getting Newton just yet. Episode 4 is gonna have some purple guy.
No.
The Kamen Rider form is gonna be purple.
I've seen clips.
So have I. It's in the preview at the end of episode 3. It's not Newton, it's some purple. It's, again, because Newton's blue, which we all know.
Wait, was it 4 or 5 then that it's going to be Newton?
I don't know when. This is the ironic thing. I don't know when Newton.
I so want to prove you wrong now. I so want to prove you wrong.
Episode 4 is going to have some purple form. That's going to be the next form. It's going to be purple.
You sure it's not Spectre?
Oh, Spectre makes his first appearance in episode 4.
Go screw yourself.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't know whether it's going to be Spectre or Ghost that takes on the purple form, but I know the purple form's going to be in episode
Okay,
4.
in short, right, spoiler alert, I've seen the clips, right, let's try this again, right, in episode 4, there's going to be this purple form that, Ghost tries to claim, but Spectre intervenes and steals it from Ghost. Secondly, there is another clip in TV Nihon, no, JE Fusion, my bad, in my case, and, it shows a very Age of Ultron, a Marvel's Avengers Age of Ultron-esque theme, where it's pretty much dropping an island on top of a city kind of thing. And to save it, you see Newton.
Okay, I don't know. But unlike
the form, the Newton form thing. Anyway, honestly, I have no reservations at the moment. And then also at the same time on J Fusion, they have also announced the actual scans in color of Billy the Kid, Beethoven, Spectre. Hang on. Spectre in Tutankhamun. And
yeah, I saw that one.
And Spectre in, what was the other one?
Because I only remember the Tutankhamun one, or Tutankhamun, or
Just say it in English, for fuck's sake. Anyway, right, let me say this first. I think the Billy the Kid one is what a Superstar Ninja should have looked like.
LOL. I'm trying to think because I know I've never seen Tutankhamun, but I'm not sure if I've seen the one. I mean, I know I've seen the Santa Claus one.
Oh no, let's not go there. Seriously, let's not go there. And secondly, Beethoven, no. I'm just gonna straight up say no.
I don't think I've seen Beethoven.
You don't wanna. Just don't.
Right.
In short, on the side of his jacket, it's piano keys.
No.
Yeah, exactly. My point. Otherwise, so you've got. Oh, what else was there? So after seeing the Robin Hood one, I was like, because I liked the weapon, but I just like the concept of it with the condor phone being like making it into a bow thing. Kinda, sorta, but it just made it.
I did like Robin Hood form.
I liked the form. I did not like the oversized weapon it gave him, though.
I don't know. If anything, I didn't like the yellow frilly bit. Yeah.
Oh no, that yellow frill. That's actually a nod to Robin Hood's feather.
Oh.
Duh. So yeah. I mean, I get where you're coming from. Granted, yeah, it doesn't really.
It doesn't look.
Yeah, I know, but then remember, if you take the feather off, then you're pretty much looking like, Green Arrow kind of thing. Cough, cough, CW verse.
I think a lot of people were saying, like, making references to how Robin Hood forms, like, making nods to Arrow. But
yes, sort of ish, maybe.
Arrow's your thing. I have no idea. I don't know about Arrow.
Anyway.
I know about
What?
So I know about Hawkeye, but that's Marvel.
Anyway, that aside, I still as a fan or as a Toku fan, I will continue putting on with Ghost, regardless of how indifferent I still. I'm sorry. What about Mickey Mouse? What?
So Mickey Mouse. I said I think it's all right.
You sounded very squeaky though.
So I was yawning. Sorry.
Yeah, as usual.
Well, I apologise to you.
Anyway,
I'm last thing, unless you want to cover anything else, I'm going to say one that we didn't cover in the last topic talk, or did we? About the crossover film he's doing with Drive.
Just shy before that, they've announced the what was it? Tokuja Ninja crossover film.
I've only seen a screenshot of
Same.
it.
I'll leave that to you. Yeah.
That's all I've seen at the moment. I
Right.
don't know anything about it.
The
But more
Ghost
specifically-
Drive crossover. I seen a screenshot with Drive as now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he Proto Drive?
I don't know. All I saw in what I read is that it's going to be based around Kiriko and I can't remember his name. Drive Shinosuke. It's based on Shinosuke. Well, it's going to be based around the time that Shinosuke and Kiriko get married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I do.
Okay. Well, either way though, I'm just.
But it would make sense because if Krim Steinbelt's gone underground, it's got to be like
Proto Drive.
got to make something up. Yeah.
What's
Oh no! Wait, I think I did see this. I don't think it's Proto Drive, but it's basically another form of Drive. It's basically like different color scheme altogether.
But in the Chaser video cinema movie, is that Proto Drive? Because I got to get this right now.
Oh, now I'm getting confused. We are such a professional outfit here on this show.
I know, right? Because one does it.
I've seen. I know.
You
I've
know,
seen
you know
this
where I'm coming
before.
from. You know where I'm coming from.
There's too much information. But I am looking forward to Chasers v Cinema. So I remember saying that in our last episode. And then, going on, the Drive Ghost crossover. I know that's going to be based around Shinosuke and Kiriko getting married. That's it. But that's what doesn't make sense because I think Surprise Future is based something like. It's only based something like 10, 15 years into the future or something. Yet they are supposed to have like a fully grown adult child, a fully grown, like they have a kid and the kid's meant to be fully grown by Surprise Future. I think I'm going to have to look into what year Surprise Future is meant to be based because there's no way they'd have had a kid in that time that's already an adult.
Either way, so I'll leave those movies and V cinemas for you then.
Because you don't watch them.
No.
If you did, we'd actually be able to talk about it a bit more constructively or whatever.
But then I'd miss my phone.
You should. I keep telling you, man, that's bare rude. You shouldn't be looking at your phone when I'm talking.
Anyway, anything else on that one?
No, I'm good. I'm dying. I want to go to bed.
No, you don't. Anyway, you want to do one more review of this. So I'm just trying to think if we have touched on everything, if we've...
I think we have. I think this has also gone on way too long. We talk way too much. Hopefully people enjoy it, because you do. I'm just like...
Shut. Anyway, so as per usual, I believe that's that. So this has been our Toku Talk review for November. I have been the Master Rider Bushido. He has been my Toku Bro from the other side of the earth, and that being Flayvaman! And as always, just type whatever, comment, babble, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, do join us next time, and as always, Visit the Cam!
Visit the Cam, that was a really long outro, but see you all next time.